Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something I bet a lot of you are thinking about right now.
Oh, yeah.
U.S. election,
Big one.
and what it might mean for us here in India.
Especially for the stock market, right?
Exactly. You guys
Yeah.
sent in a ton of articles, reports, all that.
Feeling the anxiety already.
So we're going to break it down, help you see the important stuff.
No need to spend hours reading everything.
Get that informed investor feeling without the headache.
Love it. It has a complex situation, though. So many moving parts.
Totally agree. It's not just who wins in the U.S.
Nope.
It's their policies, right? How those
Gotcha.
ripple out,
Exactly.
affecting trade, specific sectors, all that.
You got to think, U.S. and India, our economies are pretty linked.
Oh, for sure. So much U.S. investment here.
Tech, pharma, huge.
Any change in Washington, it's going to be felt in Mumbai, Delhi.
100%. And this
Okay.
isn't just theoretical, you know.
Right.
We've seen U.S. elections shake things up here before.
Oh, yeah.
2008, that global crisis hit us hard.
Then 2016, remember? Oh, things got really interesting then.
India's own demonetization happening at the same time.
Trump winning.
Added a whole other layer to how the markets reacted.
Definitely. And even 2020, Biden's win,
Yeah.
we saw a surge.
Each election, its own story.
For sure.
But this one,
This one feels different, doesn't it?
it does. I mean, Trump and Harris, neck and neck.
Nail biter.
And that uncertainty, you can just feel it.
Investors getting nervous.
Jittery.
And so in the numbers, look at November 4th.
Oh, yeah.
NSE Nifty 50 dropped almost 2%.
Elbow.
BSE Sensex, not far behind, but 1.65% down.
This before we even know the winner.
Exactly. Pre-election jitters, big time.
Like everyone's holding their breath.
Makes sense, though.
It's not just the election, is it?
Nope. Federal Reserve decisions looming.
Global impact there.
Always that profit-taking happening, too.
Investors trying to lock in gains just in case.
Smart move in times like these.
And then you add in, I saw this Financial Times report.
Oh, yeah.
Foreign investors pulled out, get this, $10 billion
Whoa, that's serious.
from Indian stocks, JST, last month.
Biggest outflow since the pandemic started, right?
Makes you wonder what they're seeing that we're not.
Well, not necessarily insider info.
Hmm.
More like risk assessment, you know?
Okay.
Future of U.S. policies unclear, they get cautious,
Makes sense.
pull their money out of places like India, emerging markets.
Safer bets till things settle down.
Exactly. Wait and see which way the wind blows.
So we've got the jitters now, but what about the actual impact?
Once a new president's in office.
Yeah, how different would things be under Trump versus Harris?
For the Indian market, I mean.
Ah,
That's a big question, isn't it? And it's tough to answer, really.
I bet.
Gotta look at so many things, potential policy shifts across the board.
Like, where do we even start?
Well, trade policies, that's a huge one.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Trump, his whole America First thing,
Right.
sometimes that meant tension with India on
Yes,
trade.
definitely saw that.
Harris, she might be different.
How so?
Maybe more focused on working together, those kind of trade agreements.
So basically, who wins could change how we import, export, the whole thing.
Absolutely. And for Indian companies, those trading with the U.S.,
Huge impact.
massive. And then there's foreign investment.
Another biggie.
Will a new U.S. administration encourage or discourage U.S. companies putting money in India?
Oh, good point.
Will they make it easier or harder for Indian companies to access their market?
So many questions.
Crucial questions. And let's not forget the rupee
Oh, man.
hit that historic low against the dollar last week.
84.0900.
Big deal.
What does that even mean for us, though?
Well, weaker rupee, good for our exports, makes them cheaper.
Oh, right.
But UT, imports get more expensive.
Which means...
Inflation can go up.
Oof.
It's a
wow.
balancing act, for sure.
Okay, so these big policy shifts. Got to keep those in mind.
Yeah.
But can we zoom in a little?
Sure.
Specific sectors.
You got it.
IT, for example. I'm curious about that.
Makes sense. Indian IT giants, TCS, Infosys, Wipro.
They do a ton of business with the U.S., right?
Oh, yeah. And they need those skilled workers.
Lots of them from India on those H-1B visas.
Exactly, the visa issue.
Huge EE under Trump.
Oh, yeah, he tightened those restrictions.
Made it harder to bring in the talent these companies need.
Big headache for them.
So if Harris wins, maybe things ease up.
Could be. But if Trump's back and goes even harder on America First,
Trouble.
big trouble for those companies.
So anyone invested in Indian IT this election got to be watching it closely.
For sure. Those visa policies especially.
Not just IT, though, right?
Nope. Pharmaceuticals, gotta watch that too.
Companies like Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's.
Big in the U.S. generic drug market.
Right, and U.S. drug pricing, that's been all over the place.
Total roller coaster.
Mm.
Who wins could mean stricter price controls.
Or they could just, let things be.
Either way, impact on these Indian companies.
Profits, research, all of it.
For sure. So IT, pharma, on the watch list.
What else should we be keeping an eye on?
Defense, that's an interesting one.
How so?
Closer U.S.-India ties there could be good for our defense companies.
Like HAL, BDL, right?
Exactly. If the new administration makes that partnership a priority,
Opportunity knocks.
could be a growth area for sure.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom.
Nope.
Some potential upsides, even with all this uncertainty.
Gotta look for the silver linings.
What about growth areas that'll do well no matter who wins?
Now, thinking ahead.
Like renewable energy that seems to be getting bigger everywhere.
Good point. Companies like Tata Power, Suzlon Energy.
Focused on that green tech, right?
Exactly. As the world goes greener, demand's only going to go up.
No matter who's in the White House.
That's a trend to bet on, for sure.
And you mentioned that China plus one strategy before.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about? Again, something about moving manufacturing away from China, right?
Spot on. For years, China's been the manufacturing hub.
Right.
But now, companies realizing maybe too much reliance on one place.
Makes sense.
Geopolitical stuff, supply chains messing up, costs in China going up.
Oh, yeah, hearing about that.
So they're looking for other options.
And India's looking pretty good, right?
You've got the workforce, increasingly skilled too.
So we could see more manufacturing here. In what kind of stuff?
Auto parts, textiles, electronics, big potential there.
This China plus one thing, that could really boost our economy.
No matter who wins the U.S. election.
Okay, so it's not all bad news, but with all this going on, how do we even make sense of it?
Feels overwhelming, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
The key is to stay informed.
Easier said than done. Where do we even start?
Well, first, got to know yourself.
What do you mean?
Your investment goals. How much risk you can handle.
Oh, right.
What are you trying to achieve? Short-term gains, long-term growth.
And how much risk am I okay with taking?
Exactly. Know yourself as an investor before looking at specific companies.
Okay, so figure that out first.
Then, research companies, sectors that fit your goals.
Got it.
Pay attention to news, their financials, any policy changes that could affect them.
So it's like building my own watch list based on my strategy.
Exactly. And diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Or
Spread your investments out, different sectors, different types of assets.
that way, if one thing goes down,
Others might go up, balance things out.
helps with that market volatility.
For sure. I know we've thrown a lot at you today,
That's a lot.
but remember, knowledge is power.
True.
The more you understand what's happening, the better decisions you can make.
So even if you're not ready to invest right now,
Just understanding these global forces, it's valuable.
helps you understand the news, the world.
Be an informed citizen, even if you're not an investor yet.
Exactly. Okay, so lots to think about.
For sure. But don't be afraid to get some help.
What do you mean?
Financial advisors, they can build a plan just for you.
Based on my goals, my risk level, all that.
Exactly. They've got the experience, can offer insights.
Help me avoid making those rookie mistakes.
For sure. Investing is a journey. It's good to have a guide.
Especially in uncertain times like these.
Absolutely. Okay, so covered a lot of ground.
We have. Quick recap for everyone. Key takeaways.
Sounds good. First, the U.S. election. Big deal for Indian stocks.
But not the only factor.
Right, domestic policies, global events, how investors are feeling overall.
Gotta look at everything.
Second, different sectors, they'll be impacted differently.
We talked IT, pharma, defense, renewable energy.
Analyze how each one might react, depending on what happens in the U.S.
Makes sense. Third, stay informed.
Read the news, track the markets.
And don't be afraid to ask for expert advice.
Great point. And lastly, don't panic.
Oh, yeah. Easy to get spooked.
Volatility is normal. Have a good strategy. Stick to it.
That'll help ride out any storm.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like having that plan, right? Helps
Oh.
you stay focused even when things get crazy.
Totally. And what's really cool here, I think, is how this connects to each individual investor.
Right. It's not just some abstract thing happening out there.
You're not just watching from the sidelines.
You have the power to make choices, informed choices.
Exactly. This isn't about blindly following the crowd.
Or freaking out every time the market dips.
It's about understanding what's causing those dips.
And then making decisions that work for you, for your own goals.
That's what we want people to take away from this whole deep dive.
It's not about predicting the future perfectly.
Nobody can do that.
But it is about, understanding the possibility.
Weighing the risks and the opportunities.
And then, making smart decisions based on what you know.
Exactly.
And, even if you're not ready to invest in the stock market right now.
Just understanding these global forces, it's still useful.
It is. Helps you make sense of the world.
The news, conversations you have, everything.
Be an informed citizen. That's valuable on its own.
Absolutely.
And thinking about everything we've talked about today.
Makes you wonder.
It raises a question for you, our listener.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
We talked about all these different sectors, right?
IT, pharma, defense, renewable energy.
So thinking about what you find interesting, maybe even your own investment goals.
Yeah, what are you focused on?
What specific companies or industries are on your watch list right now?
Love that question. Makes it personal,
Exactly. What resonates with you? And we actually want to hear from you.
Oh, yeah.
Tweet us your watch list. Use the hashtag #DeepDiveIndia.
We might even feature some of your picks in a future deep dive.
That's right. But seriously, we believe in sharing what we learn.
Knowledge is meant to be shared.
So keep the conversation going. Tell us what caught your attention.
What surprised you, what you're still thinking about?
Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, right?
Trying to figure things out, make the best choices we can.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, one final thought.
Hit us with it.
We've focused a lot on the U.S. election, its impact on the Indian market.
Right? That's our starting point.
But like we said, it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Got to zoom out, see the bigger picture.
Exactly. Think about those mega trends, the things shaping the world.
Globalization, technology changing everything.
The shift to green energy, new economic powerhouses emerging.
These things go way beyond any one election.
They're the forces that'll keep shaping how we invest for years to come.
The underlying currents driving everything.
So as you continue your own investment journey,
good advice.
Keep your eyes on that horizon. Don't get lost in the day-to-day ups and downs.
Don't get distracted by the noise.
Look at those bigger forces. They're the ones that'll decide who wins and who loses.
Playing the long game. That's the key.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive
into the U.S. election and what it means for India.
We hope you found it insightful, interesting,
maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed,
and stay invested in knowledge, in your future, in the world around you.
That's it for us. See you next time.